Ladies and gentlemen, the unusual artistry of Sid Krofft.
Oh yeah, that's me. Oh my God. Mother Nature, what she did to us this week, you know, we dodged it all summer long, but right now in Los Angeles, and I guess all of California, it's over 100, it's like 104, 105 degrees out there.
Feels like a bazillion
Yeah.
degrees.
It's exactly my age. You think
A
Mother Nature is doing that? To me, oh, it's so hot. And I thought, isn't today? Summer is over tomorrow, I mean. And regardless, happy Labor Day. Where do we start? This week I would love to pull back the curtain for a couple of moments. You know, I just wanted you to know, every time I finish a show, every Sunday, I immediately start thinking of next week. What am I going to talk about? I don't know. I only have 82 years of stories, and I keep telling Kelly, I'm running out of stories.
No more content.
But you know what? If I apologize if I keep repeating some stories, for me, and I do have more stories to tell you, but for me, I feel like they have different meanings with the different stars that I talk to every week. And so I hope so. And Kelly, how many stars? We've been on for 2 years. How many live shows have
2.5 years.
No, it is not.
Yeah, it is. Because we started in March.
I quit school when I was 15, so figure it out.
March.
How many stars have we had on?
Yeah, it's been 2.5 years.
So isn't
a
it
lot.
62 weeks in a year?
52.
See, I quit school when I was 15. Wow. So that's 100 and...
At least 100 and something people we've had on, yes.
Wow. That just blows me away. But I got to tell you something out there. It's so cool to me, you know, that you're watching me and you're still interested every week. I really have to thank you. But to honestly tell you the truth, I love doing the show. I look forward to it every week. I never thought I was capable of it. And, you know, it's crazy. It has opened up, and that will happen to every one of us. It's opened up a wall that almost my whole life, you know, was down. And it's, you know, we're capable of doing everything, all of our dreams, so just keep them coming. And, okay, you know, this week we're going to have 2 guests on, and with the same name. One is definitely world famous, back in the 70s, and from a show that we did that made Krofft, put us totally on the map, Land of the Lost. That was our biggest success with all the other shows that we did. And then the second guest that we're going to have on, we're going back to the very late 80s and the 90s, where he became famous with the name Chaka, world famous. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I can't wait for both Chakas to come on. But first, we're going to have one and only, the original, the star of there he is, the star of Land of the Lost, Philip. Thank you so much, Philip Paley.
Thanks for
Philip,
it.
no, that is so cool. Look, wow, I see what you got behind you. You got one of those.
I did. I did.
Wow, that is so cool.
Yeah, it's in my apartment.
Great. Hey, Philip, do you know we really have to celebrate today? I don't know if you realize this, but September 4th, 1974 is when Land of the Lost premiered.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what the date is today? September 4th. And, you know, it ran for 3 years. And there's a question, you know, that everybody has been asking me. And I don't know why I thought that you were 11. And I think you were much younger than that, right?
Yeah, I was on the show from age 10 to 13.
Oh, so you were 10. So
Yeah.
I exaggerated 1 year, right? Yeah,
Yeah, I
I thought you were 11. And you know, I had nothing to do with casting you, but Wesley Ure, he's the only actor that I brought to the table. And because of Wesley, you know, we wanted him to match up his sister and his dad. And so he had a lot to do with the casting of those two characters. But come on. Hey, Philip, Chaka. Chaka was one of the most important characters, and of course the Sleestacks. But Chaka, wow, I got to tell you something. There's two shows that you did, two episodes, and you really got the opportunity to act, and you know, and really show your talents. I can't remember the names of those shows. Was it, whoa, wait a minute. I had it in my mind and it has slipped. Wasn't it The Musician? Wasn't that one of them?
Yeah, The Musician is when I got to play myself out of costume. I mean, not myself, but I got to play a character out of costume. And my sister stepped in and played Chaka for that episode so that I could be in the same scene with Chaka.
With Chaka.
Right.
Wow, that's right. Yeah, I remember, and there was one other episode where you really, the builder wasn't that? Do you remember that episode?
That
Because
was. I think The Musician wasn't that character the builder. The character.
well, I'm putting the two together.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think that was the character that I played because he was like some alien, or not alien, but creator, I guess, or something. I'm not really sure.
Hey, Philip, you know, everybody always asks when a new guest comes on, you know, here you are, so young. Were you already an actor? I know we were looking for a young face, and of course, a great actor, even though, you know, the language at the beginning was just mumble, you know, and then it was the network that said, I mean, we just gave a gibberish dialogue, and then the network wanted UCLA to come in. What was her name? Whoa.
Um,
And she was the
the
linguist. You know, she made up the language.
Yes.
And it was amazing. But had you done other jobs before you came in and did Land of the Lost?
I mean, I had done commercials and stuff like that. I think this was my first big acting job. And I got it because of my martial arts, because I became the youngest black belt in U.S. history at age 9, and I was on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson and Chuck Norris, my teacher. And I think, you know, someone at NBC must have seen that, because I got called in. After The Tonight Show, which I did when I was, I think, you know, when I was just after I was 9 years old, I got an agent. An agent called and said, "Hey, would Philip be interested in going out on acting jobs?" And I was like, "Okay, sure." You know, my parents sent it to me, and I was like, "Okay, we'll check that out and give it a try." And then, sure enough, the first thing that I went out for was Land of the Lost,
and you got it immediately. I know we didn't look at anybody else. That I remember. The minute you walked in, and because of your black belt, when we weren't even sure if, I do remember if you could act, because that character, even though he had his own language, he really played a huge part in the series. And, you know, he was the one that took you on the journey. And wow, that was incredible. Did you know that you could act, or did you feel like it didn't scare you, or?
Well, no, I mean, yeah, I think, you know, I think I got a little bit of performance anxiety, like everyone does when they, you know, are acting, but not too badly. And I was pretty confident at a young age because of my martial arts, and I was confident in my abilities, and I knew that I'd be able to take this character on and bring it to life. And you know, I felt very comfortable with the character, even though I had to speak this, you know, alien language, you know, Pakuni, and you know, it was made for the show. That was a kind of a hurdle to have to learn that, or say those words and understand kind of what they meant.
Yeah, Philip, I also want the audience to know, you know, these shows were done, I'm not sure the exact amount of money, but I know it was no more than $60,000 an episode, because we got 56 to do Puffin stuff. And can you imagine the production and, you know, the staff? People don't realize there's at least 150 to 175 people, you know, involved in a little children's show like that. And, you know, and all the effects and everything, they were cheesy, but the kids bought them, you know, because we could not afford. I mean, it was so expensive to take stop motion and convert it into tape, because we were shooting the show on tape.
That's
And
right.
then we were shooting the stop motion on film, and to marry the two, it was very, very complicated. But what I'm getting at is we couldn't do many takes. And so that's why we had to have real qualified actors that could cut it. You know, I'm sure they never did more than 2, and you're lucky if you could get 3 takes, because didn't you do 2 episodes a week?
Yeah, something like that. Or yeah, we'd work on 2 different ones a week, and it was a real quick and steady schedule. So yeah, we didn't do a lot of takes during the
No,
scenes. Yeah.
couldn't afford it. And, you know, I mean, we've been so lucky in this business, because we had, you know, Zimmerman. I mean, come on, Herman Zimmerman, who did all the Star Treks and incredible movies. He was the art director. Can you imagine? You know, and there were 21 writers. Did you know on this show? I looked it up because I knew it was a big amount,
Yeah.
but 21 writers. you know. I mean, that, and everybody, was willing to take a cut or whatever that they normally usually make on a nighttime show, because everybody believed in Land of the Lost. Just knew we had a great feeling before it hit the air that, wow, this has a possibility of being a huge, huge hit for us. I didn't feel that way with Puffin Stuff, because it was so bizarre, that show, and I wasn't sure if little kids, don't forget, Land of the Lost was on at 10 in the morning. Puffin Stuff was on at 8. So that means 8 o'clock is little kids. I mean, preschoolers, but college kids watched it. Adults
I,
watched it.
I watched Puff and Stuff before I got the part of Chaka. I loved the show, as well as all the prof shows. I was
Well, thank you.
kid, and I was a kid, so I was really excited to get the opportunity to be on one of your shows. It was really exciting for me, and going back to what you said about like the effects were cheesy. Well, they look cheesy maybe now, but at the time, like, they may have been not a lot of money. We had a tight budget to make those effects, but it really brought you into the story,
It
and
worked.
to use your imagination. And I got
Yeah.
stories because I watched all the episodes with my brother and sister with cereal, morning, I'd be like, check this, so
There were 5 little kids. I think it was about a year ago. I don't even know why it was done, but they showed these 5 kids our shows, and wanted their opinion. This is just a couple of years ago. And there was one kid, and he was something like, maybe 6 or 7 years old. No more than 7. And he just hated. He said, oh, the special effects. And I mean, he knew too much for a little kid. And he said, it's so cheesy, and whoever was, commentating the whole thing kept saying, well, and this is back many, many, many years ago. I mean, come on. How many years ago was Land of the Lost? 40, what? 48?
yeah, we're coming up on 50 years.
Wow.
Oh my God, that makes me so old. I mean, you've ruined my whole day. No, oh my God, it's so incredible, because Land of the Lost was a show that could be on at night for a little more money. I mean, that could be on, not against Star Trek, but that kind of a time period. And that was one thing we were just vaguely worried about. Kids that age at 10 o'clock, Saturday morning, I don't think they get any older than as old as you were, maybe 12 or 13 would be the oldest. Would they understand the scripts? Because they were written just like, well, that we had all the Star Trek. David Gerrold was, he won so many awards, and he was just a kid himself. And he was the showrunner of Land of the Lost. Yeah. And we can't forget Sharon Barrett, who played Pa, and Ta was Joe.
Joe Jamalva.
Joe. I know you're watching. Forgive me. I got tongue tied.
Joe Jamalva played Ta.
Sure. Yeah, and Ta wasn't he the leader, or of the Pacoonies? Yeah.
Well, either was a brother sister or they were my father and mother, but I think it's more brother sister. They were he was a bully. He was kind of a bullyish,
Yeah.
older brother. But yeah, I mean, we worked as a tight unit, us three, when we were all cast. I don't know if you remember, but we were given homework and we had to go watch 2001: A Space Odyssey together, which I believe we saw at the Cinerama Dome. And then we also were, part of our homework was to go to the zoo and study the monkeys. And so we did that together. And
No, I remember all of that. At that time when we were, and the reason you didn't see me much on the set, because we were also shooting Donnie Marie. I was responsible for all the production numbers, the Ice Skaters, the finale, and all the big production. It was like a big vaudeville show, and of course, that's where I swiped it from, because I was a performer in vaudeville, and I was in burlesque, and I mean, I go back the beginning of time. Did you know that? When there were dinosaurs. Yeah, yeah. No,
PC.
yeah, yeah. And well, come on, and I'm still here to talk about it. But I know everybody out there, you might have heard this before about Land of the Lost. Where did the idea come from? My second movie, you're going to have to hear it again. The second movie I saw as a kid, I'm talking about 10 years old. Well, actually, I was 11. It was 1940. And a movie came out called 1 Million BC with Victor Mature. And it was the first time as kids that we saw dinosaurs moving, because we studied it in our books in school and saw pictures. And it was a very scary, scary movie for a young kid. I got in free because the guy, he lived above us. The guy that opened and closed the curtain, he, if I went backstage and the manager of the theater wasn't in the auditorium because he'd look through the curtain, he'd make me run out and jump into the first seat I could find, and he could have been fired for that.
This
But
business.
yeah, but did you ever see that movie?
Of course, I loved it when I was a kid. I was really into sci-fi when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I watched whatever they would show that on TV. So I definitely saw that and loved it.
Philip, they just showed it maybe a month ago. I saw it being listed and I watched it again. It was great. There were parts that were really silly, like when the dinosaurs ate the people and they fell off mountains, and then the dinosaur just picked the person up or whatever, but that was scary for me.
It was horrifying. You're like, oh my God, like.
Oh my God, that's my saying, oh my God. Every time I say, oh my God, there's a group of people out there, we're being watched all over the world. And there's a group out there that all got together. And I was not aware that I keep saying, oh my God. And, it's I guess it's embedded in me. And every time I say it, they have a shot. So they have a party on oh my gods. So we've done 3 oh my gods today. So everybody out there is probably pissed drunk. It's fine. Because we're going to put on a great show. Yeah. And we are so far. So the other thing, Bill Lambier was one of the Sleestacks.
Yes.
One of the famous players, that is basketball player and still not playing, but coaching right now. Yeah, yeah. And I haven't seen him in years.
Wesley and Kathy got to see him, I think last year, or maybe it was the year before.
They were telling me, and they had all these pictures of him. I can't remember the full story. They had 8x10s, and a bunch of people. They gave them all the 8x10s.
Yeah, they went.
Wesley, I know you're watching, and I'm screwing up the story.
That's all right.
Yeah, we'll just have to have Wesley on again.
For the fifth time.
Yeah. So anyway, like Gene Warren, he did all the stop motion, and you love sci-fi movies. He did so many of them. I mean, unbelievable movies. So sci-fi movies. So here we go, boy. We really struck gold with the people. It takes a great army of people to put a show on, but they all have to be talented, and we had the best of Hollywood. Oh, and your makeup and your costume. Oh my God, come on. Michael Westmore, who has done how many Academy Award movies? Start naming them, and it'll take up our whole hour, And he did the makeup, right? And
How long did it take you to get into makeup?
It varied. In the beginning it took longer because they were, Michael was just working out the process. But it took a couple hours in the beginning, and then they sped it up towards the end. But when Michael was doing it, he really took his time, and there were layers of makeup and pencil on the face, and then they glued hair onto my chin line, and they spray painted my hands and feet with colored hairspray. And so, and of course, Michael made all the prosthetics. So I had prosthetic teeth that he made, and a prosthetic headpiece that was made in his garage at his home in the Valley. And I went there, and we spent some time doing all the casting the molds and everything.
No, Michael also did the sleeve stacks out of wetsuits.
Yes.
Yeah.
All in his garage. He did all that work
Yeah.
in the garage in the Valley. And
I had Michael on months ago. Oh, it was such a great show. I'd like to have him back. I mean, he's got so much to talk about. All the incredible movies that he had done. And boy, were we honored. I mean, come on. It was a little kid show, on Saturday morning.
And he was the best. And he did such a great job on Chaka's, the whole makeup and prosthetics and the sleeve stack. I mean, he made that up. It's from his, artistic.
Well, he's brilliant. He's done so many incredible makeups that he's the first one that major movies want when they have some kind of a character. He can turn you from a 20-year-old to a 70-year-old.
Yes.
Right on camera, he's just amazing and the nicest man.
We had so much fun through the whole process. Him and I, we would laugh, and I just remember just cracking up with him. It was like such a pleasure to be part of that creative process, and also to sit in the chair with him, while he put on the makeup. It was,
But Philip, you would laugh during my time. Time is money, and the clock keeps ticking. When you're doing a show,
right?
You had like a little party with Michael Westmore. Wow! If I would have known. No, hey.
Don't worry, cracking the whip.
Oh boy, you know it. Hey, Philip, let's both introduce my next guest, because this is really, really going to be interesting. This guy, I talked to him a couple of times. He's so interesting, and of course we all knew about him. We're talking about I think it was the very late 80s, but the 90s, and he was 18 years old. He had a great idea, he felt, and he, wow, got in a lot of trouble, with his great idea. But, he's had it gave him a rough path to go on. And now he's in the greatest space today. And I can't wait for him to come on. I love his stories. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to introduce Daniel Ramos, and AKA Chaka. Yeah, so we got two Chakas on. So come on down, Daniel. We already had the real Chaka stand up, and now we're going to have two Chakas. He's going to be on in a minute. This is the part of the show. I mean, you came right on. I mean, there we go. Whoa.
Where are we?
Look oh my God, you did how cool. Oh my God, no way. Oh, how cool. Should we play the theme song while you're showing it?
What's up?
Hey, how are you? Wow, it's good. Great. It's great to meet you in person. And of course, I want to introduce you to Philip.
Okay.
Paley,
hey.
This is the guy that gave you the idea back in the 90s. Hey, come on. You've got to start off and tell us, the story. The story. We only have a half hour, but we'll get it in there.
Yeah, I mean, the name Chaka, I didn't give it myself. It was just a bunch of kids in the projects. I came from Nana Lost too in the projects, and I had long hair back in the day. I was only yay high, like 6, 7 years old, and I was already running the streets way back then.
Where did you grow up?
What's that?
Where did you grow up?
In Bowl Heights.
Okay.
East LA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I grew up there, and I had long hair, and it was bushy and everything, and it just spread like wildfire. And I hated it. It was like because the characters was a little ugly. He was a little ugly, but he was cute. He was adorable. It was adorable.
And everybody called you Chaka?
Yeah, all at once. Like, it just spread.
Wow.
It was crazy.
And then, okay, but you were only 7, 6, or 8 or whatever. But what made you think, oh, I'm going to take on that name and I'm going to paint the whole town Chaka?
Man, it was during an era where graffiti became a subculture, and the majority of kids back then, it was a totally different era, but it was an era of lawlessness. The cops had no control, and it was predominantly gangs. But my outlet was painting my name Chaka. I mean, your name. Phil.
Character's name.
Yeah. And tell us what happened, because I remember it when it all started, of course, because I was blamed with my brother, for that name. And I know the whole city, Los Angeles, and it became a worldwide phenomenon, that somebody is painting. They couldn't catch you, right?
They eventually caught me. And I didn't expect to be in the news, but it was traumatizing more than anything. because I was facing like a lot of charges,
And
and I was just a kid. I was only 18.
and so what happened?
I ended up doing a total of like 18 months
No,
over it.
what, from just painting Chaka on?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. And once I got out jail, only 24 hours, I allegedly tagged the courthouse elevator.
no way.
I took my buddy. His name was Sleaze, as in Slee Stack.
Uh-huh.
And he wrote my name. They caught the marker with him. It 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 didn't identify with my tag or my style of writing, so they let me go that day. And there was this one commercial. Football players, NFL football players, would say, "We're going to Disneyland." So that's what he started. My friend started saying that when the microphone started hitting my face, and we're like, "What you did? Did you do it? Did you do it?" And he was like, "We're going to Disneyland." So I started laughing. And I came out with a big smile on the front cover newspaper next day. And the law didn't take that too well. You know, it was like a slap in the face with the law. I just, like, I got away with it.
Yeah.
But I really didn't get away with it. But
No.
Hey, Daniel, someone told me today that they saw Chaka on a curb in Los Feliz, painted on a curb. That wasn't you that did that. You're not still doing that.
that's my friend, Chaka. My name is Daniel.
It's your friend. Yeah, so you got an AKA, right? You're oh, I see. You're two characters.
Very
All at the same time. Well,
complicated.
and
Hey, how did you, Phil, you know Pakuni language? You can still talk Pakuni language?
A little bit. You know, I don't have the whole dictionary memorized, but hey, the show I can remember offhand. Yes. Like Oganza Bisasa means big magic. And
Oh, wow.
Geni Kuwasachi means you go well. It's like farewell, you know.
Oh, wow.
And Sarisa Taka, Slee Stack.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Those are the most common ones. Let's see. I probably could think of another one, but those are the main ones that I remember.
that was Victoria Fromkin, yeah. And
Remember.
because we originally did like pig language, Latin. I mean pig language, pig language, pig Latin. See?
Oh, God.
You got to really control me. And yeah, that's the way it started. And the network didn't like it at all, you know.
Yeah.
In the original idea, you came up with just, you know, they were going to speak some, you know, kooky pig Latin language. And then they're like, no, we have to hire someone and go, you know, get real with this. And so that's when you guys hired Victoria Fromkin to work on the developing the language, which was part, I think, West African. It was like 3 different languages melded together. There are people that are experts about, you know, the Pakuni language. I am not one, even though I spoke it. There are people that just are all into it, like language, you know, language people.
Oh, wow.
You know what I want to say right now? You know, most of us, at some point in our life, we make a mistake, you know, all of us. You know, and it's so important, you know, to use that mistake and you realize that mistake and you correct it, you know, because I was always, I don't know if I was taught, but I say whatever is out there you can touch or it wouldn't be there, you know, and you know, there's so much going on in the world today, and well, ever since I've been on the planet, you know, and I think that it's just so important when you think that you've done something wrong, but you learn something from that. You know, you really learn something and you use it. And what I'm trying to get to is, you know, Daniel, what you did back in the 90s, you know, and what you're doing now has so much importance. Your art, you know, and your gallery, and that, tell us about that. And teaching kids, you know.
Yeah, I've come a long way. I've taken many hard falls, consequences, um, I had awakenings, you know, where I had to like either change or there was so many times I could have been dead, you know. I went through a lot of experiences where I could have been shot, have guns pulled out on me. Um, but it's taken a different turn, you know, that I have a gift. And with that, I can uh, capitalize on it. And that gift, it's what got me out of the projects, out of the land of the lost. And it's a matter of finding myself and pursuing that. Now I'm working with the LA Olympics. They reached out to me. 2000 LA 28 it's called. The Olympics are gonna be here
Yes,
2028.
yeah.
And I'm designing something for them. And they're working with other artists too.
How cool! Wow.
Very cool. Hey, how do we get some of your artwork if we wanted to, purchase it or, go look at it? Do you have a gallery now or
Um,
workshop or how do
I'm
you?
working on a body of work for a gallery show
Mm-hmm.
and accumulating those, but those are more like I can't reveal too much of the secrets.
Sure.
But I do put my art on periodical drops. Every 3 to 4 weeks, I release items, variety of items for only 72 hours, 48 to 72 hours. That way, everyone can swap and get it, and then it'll never be reproduced again. I have to keep coming up with creative items, creative ideas. But it's on my link on my profile page. It's called chakatheone.com. And that's where I have my art.
Okay.
But
Cool.
it's only 3 to 4 weeks where I open it.
How cool! Wow. That, and you also told me you're working with kids too, right?
Yeah, well, I work with kids in a different city in Bakersfield, California.
Uh-huh.
And it was a 3-month curriculum that I had with the kids. And the culmination of the third month or the third phase was doing a mural and having an art show with their canvas paintings. And the city provided all that.
That's awesome.
Right now, it's drafting up a written document for the city of Los Angeles so that something like that can be funded in the housing projects. And one of the worst housing projects out here. The class range is the age range for the class is from like 9 to 12, 15, 20 students twice a week for 2 hours at a time.
That's amazing. See, that's what I was talking about, you know? It's great that, okay, the way you started, it disturbed a lot of people, but what you did, brought you into, it's called redemption. It brought you into a really good space. And that's why I wanted to have you on. I've known I never knew your real name, but I, of course, knew Chaka was, because I have so much love for art myself and beautiful buildings, and when I see graffiti on them, I just don't understand, the mentality of why somebody would want to, destroy or cover up such beautiful work. But, we that's the world we live in, and I that's about all I have to say about that. But Kelly, a lot of people are asking a lot of questions, aren't they?
Yeah, well, one of the questions that came in on the side, Phil, you do artwork too, correct?
Yeah, I've painted some.
And what are you doing now, Philip?
What am I doing now?
Yeah, you're talking to me, but I mean, what do you do?
Well, I have a normal job.
Yeah, doing?
Acting kind of faded out for me in the early 90s. And I had to go get a normal job so that I could pay the rent. So that's what I've been doing it's been 30 years. I've been working as a paralegal and a lit support project manager for law firms. So I work in the law field.
So if I get in trouble, you're the guy to call?
I know a lot of attorneys.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, we can all use that.
Very good ones, yes. I actually used to work at a firm that had one of the attorneys that worked there was the attorney that represented you in the McDonald's case in the 70s.
Wow, it was the first case ever done of copyright infringement, and we won.
Did.
There were very few lawyers out there that that knew how to do copyright infringement. Mm-hmm. And McDonald's came in with, I don't know, 10 lawyers. We had one. And the jury went with us.
Yes, they did.
It's because I got dressed up every day and they couldn't wait to see what I was going to wear. This is a shirt that Kelly bought me. And before we came on, I said, Kelly,
I hate this shirt.
I hate this shirt. But it's Pacunis all over it, see?
Is it?
No, well,
it looks like it.
Looks like it. That's the only way I can get away with wearing this shirt. Hey, thank you guys so much, and good luck. So much luck to both of you. But your art shows, I'm glad. Please tell us again your website, because everybody will look it up.
It's called. Oh, you mean Phil's website?
No,
mine?
Yours, yeah.
Okay, it's called chakatheone.com. As in the one and only. Chakatheone.com.
Okay, and Phillips is in case you need a lawyer. That's his website.
That's my day job, but I also do autograph shows around the country. We have done a couple together, Sid.
Yes, we have.
And those are a lot of fun, and when they happen, and we do those with Wesley and Kathy, and sometimes Joe and Sharon on the bigger ones.
And how come, Philip, you sign more autographs than I do? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I mean, there's a big line waiting for you, and there might be one person wanting my autograph.
I don't know. You created a very popular show with a popular character. What can I say?
Oh, is that it? Okay.
Yeah, Oh,
Hey, thank you so much, both of you, for coming on. And it was a really interesting hour. And I thank everybody out there for watching us. And I'm going to call both of you in a few minutes. So answer your phone, you know.
Okay.
And and, uh, and next week, we're going to have, remember Yo Gabba Gabba? Oh, I love Yo Gabba Gabba. Do
oh
you
yeah,
remember that show, you guys?
Yeah.
that's a
Well,
great kids show. It's really fun.
Oh.
Well, I'm having DJ Lance Rock on, and he's a huge fan, and I'm a huge fan of his. And every time they played at the Staples, they came to town, the live show, I was there with all those kids screaming and jumping up and down, yeah, and loving the show so much. So, hey, thank you so much, guys.
Hey, thanks.
And everybody out there, stay cool. And I'll see you next week, to be continued.